Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss what are namespaces in C++. So namespaces in C++ provides the space or region where we can define or declare identifiers. Now identifiers can be a variable, method, functions, classes, macros or objects. In the previous video we have discussed about the standard libraries present in C++, where we have discussed that there are libraries for input, output, mathematical operations, algorithms, containers, etc. Now you have to understand that in C++ we declare functions or identifiers like classes, data types, etc. in header files, but we define or implement these identifiers in the C++ standard libraries. Now we have to understand the std namespace, which is present in C++, which includes objects and other library components, so that all functionalities of standard libraries like cout, scene, vector, string, map and many other are organized into a single standard namespace. So there are three main namespaces in C++: std, abi, underscore, gnu, underscore. You can understand namespace as a way to organize elements provided by the C++ standard library into a specific scope. Now, the C++ standard library offers a variety of functionalities like input, output, containers, like vectors, maps, algorithms, strings and more. All these functionalities are part of our std namespace. Now, one of the main purpose of namespace is that it is used to prevent naming conflicts, because as the same name can't be given to multiple variables, functions, classes, etc. in the same scope. So to overcome this situation, namespace was introduced. Now in order to import identifiers, or in order to use identifier from a namespace, the basic syntax is that we have to first write the name of the namespace. After that we have to write the scope resolution operator, which is basically double colons, and after that we have to write the identifier name. For example, in std namespace we know that there are two objects, cout and scene, which are being declared in iostream header files. So we can use that using the namespace name, after that scope resolution operator and the object name, identifier name. So through that we can use that. So here you can see that we are using the prefix std : It indicates that the name cout and scene are defined inside namespace named std. Now there are many identifiers present in std namespace. So every time we cannot use the prefix std __ colon. So in order to get rid of this, there is one directive in C++ called using directive. Using that we can import all the identifiers present in any namespace into our current scope. So this directive lets us use an identifier from a namespace without using namespace name and scope resolution operator. It also tells the compiler that the subsequent code is making use of names in the specified namespace. So basically, if you write cout without this prefix, then compiler will search cout in our current scope. If it does not find in our current scope, then it will search it in the namespace which we have imported. Okay, so now how we will import the namespace? Now we can import namespace in two ways. We can import the entire namespace, which will basically import all the identifiers present in that namespace, or we can import some specific identifiers which we want, which is called importing truncated namespace. Now in order to import the entire space, we can simply use using namespace std. So it will import all the identifiers present in the namespace. In order to import some specific identifiers, we can use like import using std scope resolution operator and the identifier name. So this is how we can import this particular identifier, or we can in the same way import scene as well. Now let's see like why using namespace std is considered bad practice. So we should avoid importing entire namespace into the current into our source code, because it can lead to name collision, and this situation is called namespace pollution. So why it can create name collision? So you have to understand that if we are importing the entire namespace, so now in that space there are many identifiers, and let's suppose if we are importing some another library as well in our source code. So if let's suppose we are having identifier with same name in our namespace as well, and as well as in the different library as well, so it will create confusion for the compiler where this identifier is being declared or which identifier to use. In some cases compiler can throw compilation error as well. Let's suppose I have a cout identifier which is declared in namespace std. Now let's suppose I want to have my own custom cout and I have declared in some another library. So when I am using that identifier in my code, then compiler will confuse which one to use, and it can also throw compilation error that it is declared it is defined 2 times. So now there are some ways in which we can avoid importing entire namespace. First one is using typedefs. Second one is using import a truncated namespace, or the last way is simply use identifier using namespace name or scope resolution operator. Using typedefs we will see later in the code.